So as a dog, it gets a little difficult when I'm making my, what do you call them there? The podcast, or it's so episodic these days. It's not even anything like a chapter, a novelette. It was originally intended to be my own dog's impersonations of every day-to-day life situations, slice of life vignettes. But it didn't go down that way. It's kind of become just a running, whatever you would say. It's a blog of some nature. No one even cares. It doesn't even matter. But what I wanted to say is I wanted to do an imitation of the man, and inside the imitation of the man does an imitation of his grandfather. And it gets a little tricky, and I wanted to write it down on paper, but I typed it out, but then I didn't save it, and I erased it by mistake. So I put the dog apparatus enhancers on so I could type out a note that said, you're the dog, obviously, you're the dog, but you're going to do an impersonation of the man, and inside the impersonation of the man, there'll be an impersonation of the man's great-great-grandfather. So anyways, this is my impersonation of the man the other day when he was given the tour. He says, so the shrubbery is not quite as fine as it used to be. It used to be a little bit better. It's a little more diversity, and there was a few more, or we've lost a few rare specimens over the years. We had to have cutbacks. We don't have the, what do you call it there? I forget what they call it. With the arborist. I couldn't afford no arborist anymore. Well, the grass is nicer, but it's easy because there's more chemicals readily available at Walmart's. You get the chemicals, but the shrubbery, I think maybe the chemicals killed some of the shrubs, but the shrubbery, as you walk down this sidewalk, it's like you're walking down your own private, I don't even know, double lane car path, it's so broad. It's concrete, is beautiful. If you'll notice, it's lined with bricks and laid by Italian craftsmen. But as you walk up to this, the steps, you'll notice the steps are so broad, and when you come up upon these very broad steps, you see we have two pianos inside the house: a grand piano, a master grand piano, and a little piano that we put off in the corner someplace for doing polka dances or something. I forget what you practice or something, but it's a practice piano and a grand piano. So you had to have the big broad steps, and some of the other things, the shift furrows. I don't even want to get into it. But when you walk up here, and the man, he said to the crowd, he said, walk up here and try to jump around. It's like a Broadway stage. You're not going to hear a creak. There's not a board that will make a creak in this thing over here, okay? And then you walk through these doors. But anyways, this is what I really want to show you. When you come into this big, beautiful manor house that's well lit with gas chandelier, with electric lighting, and the sunlight. You don't even have to do anything. You open up the blinds and you have the sun. The man said to the crowd, he said, look at here, it's so beautiful in the ambiance of this room and the history and each of these furnitures. I know today it looks like it's the Addams family, but in the old days it was the best imported from all over Europe and whatever. But I just want to direct your attention. Today we're highlighting this rug over here. This rug, my grandfather procured this, my great-great-grandfather procured this rug from a Native American during a powwow. And if you'll notice, what's so crazy is the purple that this Native Americans were making is the same purple that the Romans were making, centuries before, whatever it was. It's the same exact, and scientists have proven that this Native American people, and I forget when my grandfather never told me, my great-great-grandfather, he said he never told me where, the Indians, what region they were from or what their name was. So we don't even know, but they made these purple dye carpets, beautiful carpets. And my grandfather told me the story, and to quote my grandfather said, so we were sitting inside the teepee, and this guy says to me, hey, buddy, you want to smoke a peace pipe? And he said it in Indian. I didn't know what he was saying, I mean, like, what are you don't speak English over here, So I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I could tell he was kind of pointing at this old, it looked like meerschaum, like they got it from an Irishman or an elf or somebody, a long-stemmed meerschaum Irish pipe. And he says, and the little boy comes into the tent. It's like, and the little boy had been to school and stuff, so the grandfather, he looks at him, he says, grasshopper who hops along on one leg. And that was the only things I understood. When he said grasshopper hops along on one leg, I understood. He was talking to the boy. And the boy steps forward, and he says to me, he looks at me, and he says, my grandfather wants to know if you want to have a little peace pipe smoke. And I thought, what are you, crazy? I want a herpes over here. What am I want a wart right here on the side of my lip? How do I know where that thing's been? My God, we're sitting in a teepee over here. Who knows how many people have come in and sucked on the end of that thing? Are you crazy? And so the little boy throws down this, looks like a bunch of deerskin rolled up. You know, like, who wants a bunch of rolled up deerskins? They were tanned and, you know, they're nice. They were leather. They looked like they were soft, and you could make a beautiful kind of a General Custer coat or something. You don't know what be beautiful. But, I'm like, all right, thank you so much. He goes, and the little boy says, no, open it up. And I open it up. It looks like a ball of deerskins. So I kind of start unraveling, I shake it, and out comes this purple carpet. And the man paused and he said, and it's that purple carpet right there that you see today. And my grandfather, he got it off that little Indian boy whose name was Grasshopper, who hops along on one leg. And to go back to what my grandfather was saying, my grandfather said, the purple, I immediately understood that the purple is the same color as the Roman legions had perfected. And I was like, how did these Native Americans across the Atlantic Ocean get the same technology as the Romans? It was mind-boggling. So I looked up at the little boy, and I noticed he had one leg was shorter than the other by a couple inches. And I wondered, did this little boy get polio? Did this little guy survive polio over here? Yeah, well, whatever. And I panned up to his little brown skin body, and I looked him right in the face. I looked him in the eye, and I said, "Grasshopper who hops along on one leg, thank you for this gift. I will treasure this, and my family will keep this through all time, down through the generations." And the man paused, imitating his granddad, and he looked at the crowd, and he said, "And that's that thing right there that you see? That's it right there? That's the Roman legion purple-colored rug that he got off the little grasshopper boy, little grasshopper Indian boy. Yeah, it's right there. That's how old that thing is. Who knows exactly how old it is? But that's the kind of history that's in this manor house. Oh, that's it. So everybody, you got to go now." The man was doing a tour. And he kicked everybody out after he showed them the rug. But they were satisfied. He wasn't charging too much for the tour. And everybody seemed to be pretty satisfied. And they all left. And they got in their cars. And it was, our street is so broad, you could make a parking lot of it. Free parking, you could have a concert. You could put on a carnival and just park, because we have such giant, broad, beautiful roads with such ample amounts of parking. So the tour, they all got in their cars and they left. It was beautiful.